Welcome to this week's edition of the first reading, where I'll go over the first reading of daily Mass, because each week there's a different focus on salvation history, a different focus on a different piece of salvation history. And so this week, the daily Mass readings focus on the piece of salvation history that has to do with wisdom literature. So wisdom literature is when people reflecting upon their experiences give wise advice to the younger generation, and then somebody writes it down, and then that's what was recorded in the Bible. And so this week we'll be going over the book of Proverbs and the book of Ecclesiastes. And so on Monday we take a break from that. First of all, we go to the apostle, since we celebrate the feast of the apostle St. Matthew. So the first reading is actually taken from Ephesians, reminding the community that all of faith is based on the foundation of all of the apostles, what they have taught to us about Jesus, reminding us that we all share one faith, one baptism, one Lord, Jesus Christ. So that's on Monday. On Tuesday, we start with the wisdom literature, specifically from the book of Proverbs. And this piece of advice for this particular day is about if we are selfish or if we are greedy, or as it says, if we shut our eyes or if we shut our ears to the cry of the poor, then when it's our turn to cry out, no one will hear us. Or basically, if we do bad things in life, that sort of behavior will eventually come back to us as well, or other people will treat us the same way. So that's the wise advice from Proverbs on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we hear also that God is enough. So there's nothing that we as human beings can do to fulfill our lives, but God only is the one that is enough. For that reason, the author prays that he never forgets God, or he prays that riches or any of the earthly possessions that he has doesn't distract him from God. So he specifically prays to not have too much of those things, so that he always stays focused on the Lord. The next piece of wisdom literature we start on Thursday, which is called the book of Ecclesiastes. And this author, he reflects on everything in life, and specifically how everything falls short. The famous phrase that everything is vanity. So everything, all of the new experiences that we have, they still fail to leave us fulfilled. Everything that we experience or everything that we see in the world are things that have already passed before, or these are things that nothing new is under the sun, as he famously says as well. So that's what we start with on Thursday. On Friday, we continue in the same book of Ecclesiastes, where he famously says, the author famously says, that there's a time for everything in life. There's a time to live, there's a time to die, there's a time to reap, there's a time to sow, there's a time to build, there's a time to destroy. There's a time for everything in life. Every life has its own cycles that are proper to it. And so that brings our author to his conclusion, which we go over on Saturday, that even though life doesn't have all of the answers, life always falls up short. Even if it's true that everything is vanity and nothing is new under the sun, if we stick with God, if we follow his commandments, then that is what will bring us true happiness. And so we end this week on Saturday with that conclusion from the book of Ecclesiastes, and that is the wisdom literature that we go over for this week. So I hope this video helps as we put the first reading in its context as this piece of salvation history that we'll be looking at this week during daily Mass. Thank you for watching. Until next time.